All right, so part two. So we just talked about the space shuttle program, and one of the reasons why the space shuttle program was so great, it had such large payloads, which mean it could carry a lot of cargo. Some of that cargo was to build the International Space Station. The International Space Station is the biggest object ever flown in space. It travels around the Earth at an average speed of 27,700 kilometers an hour, completing 16 orbits per day. At night, it can be easily seen from Earth as it flies 320 kilometers above us. You can see it live here. Let's take a look at this link. It'll take you to, let's see if it'll load it for us. Oh, it's off air right now, but try again later. It will kind of up, um, sometimes be on, sometimes be off, and you can kind of get a view of the Earth from the International Space Station. So let's continue on with our lesson. Let me move this back over. So while there were many successes, there were also tragedies. We're going to talk about the Space Shuttle Challenger in 1986. Um, I want to tell you a quick story, real quick. I was in kindergarten, and we were in our school library, and we were watching the Space Shuttle Challenger live take off from Florida. It was kind of a big deal because they had a contest, and people wrote in to have a seat on the Space Shuttle Challenger. And one teacher won. And this is, you're going to kind of hear her story a little bit, but she won, and her students were watching her live. And I would encourage you to ask your parents if they remember the Space Shuttle Challenger. They may have been too little. I am 41, so I was in school when this happened. And I remember watching this tragedy live in the library. And luckily, I was only 6 and didn't really understand the magnitude of what had just happened. But it's an important part of our history. And I'm going to push play. But again, if you cannot hear the sound, please go back and click through the Google slide and click on the link and watch it yourself. Okay. So I'm not sure if you could hear the um, the video or not. But again, please go back and watch it. It is so important. Um, Even now, it's really hard for me to watch that. But you know, it kind of pushes the future, right? We learn from those things, and it pushes the space program. They did learn that the night or a couple nights before the launch, um, that they were having unusual, really cold weather, and it went to the freezing point. And so some of the rubber O rings froze and thawed out during the day. But what they had learned is that once the rubber had been frozen, it had been compromised. And so it kind of caused a leak, which caused to the explosion, and all the lives were lost. Um, and so that is something that they have learned from, and that's just kind of all we can take from tragedies like that. I do want to continue on and talk about the Space Shuttle Columbia. Um, this was also another tragedy. It had a successful takeoff and mission. During its entry back to Earth, hot gases entered the wing, causing it to break up. All of the people on board died when it broke up, and parts of Colombia were found across the state of Texas. And I again encourage you to ask your parents if they remember anything about that day. Or they could probably talk to you about their own personal experiences, about their memories. So that was another tragedy that occurred. The Space Shuttle program was retired in 2011 in order to reallocate money to the United States' next space mission. And how, so now that the space shuttle is retired, the question is, how do we get astronauts to space now? Because there is the International Space Station. We send astronauts up there and bring them supplies. So, how do we do that if there isn't a space shuttle? So, the answer to that is SpaceX. Um, Most of y'all know SpaceX. It's very much in the news. It's very cool to keep track of and learn about all the new technology going on. Um, the Dragon spacecraft is capable of carrying up to 7 passengers to and from Earth. Earth's orbit and beyond. It is the only spacecraft currently flying that is capable of returning significant amounts of cargo back to Earth. And it is the first private spacecraft to take humans to the space station. You can watch its first successful trip to the ISS and back here. Let's see if I can get the link to work. Yeah, okay. All right. So this just happened. This video happened in September of 2020. So this is kind of a new age for NASA or for America as far as space travel goes. SpaceX is a independently owned company. You might know the name of the owner as Elon Musk, who also owns the Tesla car company. And if you notice in that video, they rode the Tesla or a Tesla to the spacecraft, which I thought was really cool. So, what is the future? So, Mars is the future. So, with lunar missions complete and the ISS successfully in orbit, NASA shifts its resources to Mars. The goal set by President Trump and NASA was for a man to be on Mars by 2033. This has been updated to 2040. So it's really exciting to think about what the future holds and how this date may go back to 2033 and maybe sooner than later. And you never know. You could be one of the astronauts on that make it a civilization on Mars. And so it's great to research. I encourage you to look at it and just kind of see what the future holds.